We're going to call our meeting to order for our Board of Trustees for November 20th. Let us all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you might have noticed, we again have Ms. Sharon Smith taking our minutes this evening. So if you could please call the roll, Sharon.
Sure. Nathan Bartholomew?
Here.
Matt Edwards?
Here.
So Fowler, I think, is out. And Nolan Kerr?
Here.
Justin Parker?
Present.
Shelley Russo?
Present.
And President Poznansky.
Here. Okay, we'll move into the approval of our agenda. We get an approval or some, I'm sorry, is that you, Nathan? Okay. Motion by Nathan or Mr. Bartholomew. Anybody second?
Support.
Support by Edwards. I'm guessing you have an addition.
Nolan, do you want to add to committee reports?
Yeah, I didn't even notice they were in there.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can do the
Prospect committee.
Gotcha, we'll put you E under committee.
Thanks, Justin.
I feel like our agenda was just an adjustment from last month. As you can see in the minutes, it says September. So we've already noted that. With that addition of Prospect Street under committee reports, do we have an all in favor? Or did anybody
Aye.
else have additions?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Any opposed? We have none opposed. We have an agenda. Moving into our minutes from October 16th. Do we have a motion or any changes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from October 16th, 2023.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Parker.
Support.
Support by trustee Bartholomew. Do we have any?
May I back up one moment to the agenda? I just noticed the approval of the minutes is September 18th.
Yeah, that's what I said. Well, we saw that. I saw that already.
Oh,
We're
okay,
gonna
I'm
correct
sorry, I
it.
didn't hear you. Okay.
Sorry. All in favor of the October 16th meeting minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have none opposed. Okay, we're moving into our bills. We have our two sets of bills. One in the amount of $55,202.48, and then $298,894.24. Do we have any motions or questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the bills as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Edwards, support by trustee Parker. Could you please call the roll?
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Kerr?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Russo?
Yes.
Poznansky?
Yes. Okay, moving into our special presentations, we're starting off with the Romeo Community Schools regarding 297 Prospect Street. Welcome. I think you might need to hit the button on the microphone.
How's
There you
that?
go. You're
Good?
good.
You guys are fancy. You have a sound booth. We don't have a sound booth. So, good evening. Todd Robinson, Superintendent of Romeo Community Schools, and I'm here with Anita Bonick, our Board President. Our Board Treasurer, Chris Young, is also here in support tonight, and we appreciate the opportunity to just share some things with you in regard to the Prospect property that we know has had a lot of discussion. So Anita's going to start, and then I'll share some things, and we'll try and make it quick.
So we thought it would be best to kind of start out and share with you publicly what we've been stating publicly at our meetings, so that you're hearing directly from us. You're not hearing from other people and any type of kind of editorializing of where the board stands. So where we stand right now and what we've publicly shared on a couple occasions is that 297 Prospect is a district asset that's no longer needed by the district for any educational purposes. The board does not intend to keep or maintain the property. The board is not interested in donating the property, mainly because we have to be fiscally prudent, and you're just one small, area of the entire school district and all the different municipalities that feed into our school district. The property will be sold, and it is currently zoned R1, so the intent was to sell for single-family home development, because that is what it is. So when we put out the RFP, we do it based on how it is zoned. So where are we today? The status of the RFP is that it was comprehensive, and we completed that. We spent over 5 months of dialogue and discussion on this process since the bids were received. We've had continuous interaction and communications with a citizens group that continually came to our board meetings to tell us what they wanted. Clearview Homes was the sole developer left in the process, and a contract with Clearview Homes was drafted and reviewed by the board. There was not support to approve that draft contract, and so therefore, on November 13th, we passed Resolution 91 unanimously, all 7 members, and I'll just read you that resolution so it can be into your board minutes as well, which is: the School District's Board of Education hereby desires to end the RFP process, reject any and all proposals submitted through the RFP process or otherwise, and pause any future RFP process through June 1st of 2024, unless a viable offer is brought to the board by community members, which the board elects to consider at a public board meeting. So I just want to reframe that and be very clear that we're pausing. So our stance is still the same. We do intend to sell it, but we're pausing until June 1. And it's important to know that it's not just any old offer that would come forward, and it wouldn't be some behind-the-scenes deal. It would be an offer that would be presented to the Board of Education. It would go through our legal counsel, and it would be voted on publicly at one of our meetings, put on the agenda and voted. I just feel the need to constantly say that, because we don't just randomly vote on things that aren't on the agenda, to put the minds at ease of our residents, because they feel like they have to keep coming. So we just want to put that date out there. June 1st would be the first that we would then be putting out the RFP. So with that, I'm going to turn it over, because we learned a lot of lessons throughout our process, and leave it to our educational leader to tell us what those lessons were.
So we do in fact feel like we've got some lessons learned, and maybe as much some things that we just would present to the council tonight to consider. First of those is around the Thompson Place Street easement, the paper street, as I've heard. The notion of this street has been referenced on many occasions during the past several months. Most notably was the letter that the village president sent to the school board on August 10th, stating it would be nothing other than a platted street and that it should not be encroached upon. This was leveraged as a barrier to any sale of the property and a limitation to any site plan development by members of the citizens group in writing and several times at the podium in public comment at our meetings. If this is that important to the village, then we would propose that the village develop it prior to any future development. If not, then consider taking up the process to vacate it so that no one in the future deals with these same circumstances. Residential zoning ordinances were talked at quite a bit over the course of the past several months. Based on our purview, we would ask the council to consider reviewing the zoning ordinance on residential lot requirements. Over the course of the last several months, we have clearly learned that residents disagree in regard to density implications alone. The district will follow what the ordinances dictate, just as we did in this past RFP process. So prior to any future RFP, if there is the need for updating of zoning ordinances that would impact density, that would certainly help the situation according to at least the eyes of the citizens that live in proximity to 297. As to the future of 297 Prospect, we heard a lot in the RFP development process, but we've heard and reiterated some things since then through our meetings and other electronic communication. We've heard, Village Park, green space, some other suggestions. So we do want to honor you have recently created a subcommittee of the council to work with this citizens group on the future of the property. This is noted as the GSOPS committee, and we know that they presented at your most recent meeting, and we've received their presentation and also watched the recording of it. Our hope is that this committee, along with the full council, defines any intent of the Village of Romeo in regard to the future of the property, as ultimately you control the outcome after any eventual sale. The board's position is clear in regard to the future of the property, as Mrs. Bonnick shared. With the passage of Resolution 91, there's now time for the municipality and its residents to develop a plan if anything other than single-family homes is desired. And then finally, in regard to just the notion of collaboration and communication, the district is committed to regular communication with the village leadership. And we know that was challenged because you changed administrations really in the time that we were working through getting an RFP out, and then when it was eventually put out. Should there be a future RFP in regard to the sale of the property, the village president and a few other representatives will be offered the same opportunities to be engaged in the process to understand the type of developers we would be considering and those draft site plans that they might present in the future. So that's just some considerations. It is my intent to summarize this and put this in a letter to you after the holiday here to make sure that you have it on paper as well as in our comments tonight. Mrs. Bonnick?
So I guess in closing, we just feel it's important for you guys to understand our intention was always to be good stewards. Our intentions were always to be good neighbors. We know it's an asset that is important to the village. We know it's an asset important to this council. Careful consideration was given throughout each step of our process. We've learned that our diligence was counterproductive. So we're going to take a step back and allow the necessary work to get done with the entity that controls the future of the site. So we're graciously stepping back. We're going to let the residents work directly with you, and then you know what kind of timeline we're looking at, and that's when we would pick that back up. And as Dr. Robinson said, we would, of course, afford, just as we did the first time, and invite you into the RFP process, and whether you chose to participate or not would be up to you guys. But we don't want to be in the battle with the residents because we really don't control that whatsoever. So we really just want you guys to work it out, figure out how you want it to be, and then we'll go forward with our RFP at that time. So we appreciate it. And again, our door is open, or his door is open for you to call at any time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on our presentation, we have the DDA is asking for an igloo cost sharing request.
Yes, thank you. I think you should have this in your packet somewhere.
Yeah,
Is it
it's farther
in-
back.
Farther down, but-
Under the new business item. I wasn't gonna put it in there twice. So
Yeah.
we flipped through there.
So, hello, my name is Danielle Lee. I'm the Vice Chair for Romeo DDA. We wanted to share with you some initiatives we have for the winter months here for downtown Romeo. After receiving feedback and evaluating the events and projects we have going on, we thought we'd extend our budget and spread things out throughout the seasons to try to promote consistent foot traffic throughout the village. What we're seeing is an influx of foot traffic during special events, but then it would die off. So our goal at this point is to try to extend the seasons and events and again promote that consistent foot traffic. This season, Winterfest is going to be 5 weeks, roughly, time frame around January 13th through February 10th. This event will include ice sculptures, live ice sculpting, musicians, a chili cook-off again through the chamber, the 5K, things of that nature. All of those will be happening on various weekends during that 5-week time frame. Again, we're trying to promote people coming back on a regular basis. The idea is to start planning and creating an atmosphere where people want to continue to come back. We have approved 3 igloos that will be temporarily put in the village park. They'll be utilized hopefully through that whole time frame, and we want to continue to, we have a beautiful park and we like to see it utilized through multiple seasons, not just the summer sunny season. To start building on that concept, we're going to purchase these 3 igloos. They'll have lights in them and they'll go over the picnic tables. So guests and residents alike will be able to enjoy a hot cup of coffee or cocoa while their kids are playing in the snow. Or maybe they'll just pop in to have a treat after dinner. Our thought is to continue to build on this year after year, and maybe next year we'll have an ice skating rink in the park. These igloos will be up after the tree lighting and Christmas parade, and they'll stay up through the end of Winterfest. You've probably seen these used in other communities, in their parks or even at restaurants, where they're put up for the winter season, and it's just a fun experience, something to add to our village and another reason to come downtown and stay downtown. On your agenda, you have co-funding for these igloos. The DDA has approved $2,500 to be spent on these, which would include shipping and setup. I'm not going to presume to give you a number of what we would like, but we thought it would be a nice partnership. And again, this is going to serve the residents and visitors to the community. The DDA will be responsible for maintaining them and putting them up. It is this initial investment in the igloos we are asking for some financial support on. We appreciate your consideration. I'm open to any questions you might have, if you have any. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we had no correspondence, which brings us into our public comment time. As you all know, this is public comment. This will be the only time the public will be here to comment. You have 3 minutes. And I did ask one of the other items, the other event permit, if she would speak during this time, as we had last-minute things sent to us. So anybody else, or Jessica, whoever wants to start public comment.
Hi, thank you, Jessica Newby, Romeo Town Hall Soda Fountain, and Juliet Chocolate Factory. Thank you for your patience. This is my first time putting a permit through. But I think we have most of the steps. I'm just waiting on, so the event is bringing the Vintage Romeo Christmas and bringing the horses downtown every weekend in December on Fridays and Saturdays. The one Saturday I don't have them available is on December 9th. This is Silverwood Farms. They've done the horses in our town for the last couple of years, so they're very familiar with it. The path I chose was the same path they took for the haunted horse storytelling one recently. I had talked directly with the fire chief, and he wanted me to, he said the best place was in the alley between MJC Marketplace and the gas station. He said just put 2 cones in the front and the back, and he's very happy with this particular route that we have. I think you all have it with you. Okay. So basically it starts, the loading and unloading is in the alley between MJC Marketplace and the Shell gas station in town. They're gonna turn right onto Main Street, left onto Church Street, turn right onto Prospect Street, right onto Hollister Street. Hollister, then cross at Main Street to Bailey Street, turn right at Bailey Street, and then take Bailey to the Alley Street where we load and unload again. So it's pretty simple. They're fully insured, and I'm just waiting on an approval from the police chief to make sure that he's okay with it as well. So I don't know where to go from here, so.
Okay. I just wanted a little more clarification. Some of the first couple ones were a little,
Yeah,
I know, it was last minute.
too
so-
many variables,
Yep.
but we got them figured out, yeah.
Thank you.
All set?
Yep.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Richard Corey. Our spokesman couldn't be here tonight, Franco. His wife's like 8 months pregnant, so he asked me to read this. On behalf of the Green Space on Prospect Street Volunteer Group, we would like to thank the Village Board for the positive steps that you have made recently. Your appointment of the subcommittee to explore the vision to preserve the former middle school property as a public green space was great. The school board's decision to remove the property from the market through June was also a huge step forward. And now, after listening to the school board tonight, we understand that there are a lot of positive steps being taken, and I really want to publicly thank Todd, Anita, and Chris, and the whole board. Our village cares about open spaces and parks for all residents. We are here to help you, and we have our sleeves rolled up and ready to work together to make this vision a reality. So thank you. And I do want to thank our group, too. They've been great. Thanks.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Betty Cassidy. I live at 356 Benjamin. And I went to Parks and Rec meeting on Thursday, the last one they had, and there seems to be confusion between Romeo Bruce Parks and Rec, Romeo Washington Bruce Parks and Rec, and the village trustees as to where the Sisson Street green space is, whether it's the trustees need to do something, have to talk to the Parks and Rec, or the Parks and Rec have to talk to them. Because the village trustees did not know that it was theirs anymore. They seem to be under the influence that it got shut back down and off of a green space. Now they know it's a park. Hopefully, they'll remember it's a park. We really hope that on some level that both organizations can talk to each other and have something in writing, something official, so that Parks and Rec, if they forget, they can go back and look at it. And because we really like to get this ball rolling, try to get the green space a little bit more like a park and still not just an empty lot. I know nothing can happen for the next 3 or 4 months, but I just don't want it to be forgotten. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
Do we have any more public comment?
Good evening. My name's Elizabeth Miller. I live on Chandler Street, and my husband and I and our family have been there for a little over 16 years. The late former president, Paul Reese, appointed me to the Romeo District Library Board in July of 2009, 14 years ago. I have been a trustee since then, and just a tad bit over July of 2009. It has been an honor to serve this community and to work with several of administrations to help make the Romeo District Library what it is today. Being part of this 6-member board is unlike any other appointed boards in our community. The makeup is very similar to the Romeo Community School Board. The only difference is that we are appointed instead of elected. We have an independent budget, and we are covered under the district library law of the state of Michigan. So we actually fall under the Department of Education, and most people don't know that. It is a 6-member board. For those of you who don't know, and those in the public that are listening, there's an opportunity to serve soon, unless President Poznansky already has chosen someone. But I am not seeking reappointment. 14 years has been enough. And it's been an absolute pleasure. There's been some rough spots, as many people probably know, and we have protected the sovereignty, if you will, of the Romeo District Library. Our current director, Claire Meeker, has done an absolutely phenomenal job. And John McNaughton before her, a couple other directors before them, and she has done just an absolutely outstanding job. However, she couldn't do her job if she didn't have a 6-member board that believed in her and let her do her work. And we are very proud to say we've done that. So 2 from Romeo, the 2 from the village, 2 from Washington, and 2 from Bruce Township. Mine and both Mr. Bill Grandstaff's appointments are up the end of December, so next month will be my last board meeting. It's an incredible opportunity to continue the importance of libraries across the world, but specifically right here in Romeo. the Kezar Library, the Grosvenor Library, and the little vans. Anybody seen the van driving around everywhere? It's a truck. I don't know what it is exactly, but we are doing some amazing work. The partnerships that we've been trying to build for 14 years with Romeo Community Schools is now in full fruition, and students are getting books like they haven't been able to get in a long time just because of the way that things are changing. So I would encourage anyone who's interested in becoming a Romeo District Library Board member, please reach out. I would imagine you, Megan, is that correct? If anybody has questions, I'd be happy to answer. Claire Meeker is also happy to answer any questions. I encourage you to watch the district library meetings. They're actually not boring. They're we have a little bit of fun there. But they're short, and it's one meeting a month. But thank you for the opportunity to serve this community in this capacity, and I'm looking forward to getting my second Wednesdays of the month back again. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth.
Do we have any other public comment? Hearing none. Okay, there's no more talking. Okay, we are going to close public comment and move into our officer reports. I suppose I can start. I have a report from Clerk Trapp. I don't see Caroline here, so no. Oh, where are you? Okay, do you want to go?
No, when we get down to Michigan class.
Oh, okay, you're totally, you're hidden from me. Okay, I will read Catherine's report. The Pilot Committee report, I guess I'll throw that in now. The committee planning on meeting early December, and we are still seeking a business partner who resides in the Central Business District. So if you live in the Central Business District and you would like to jump on this committee, please reach out to Clerk Trapp. Moving on October 18th, the Cemetery Board met and accepted a bid for the road repaving project. The board did vote to have the entire cemetery roads to be redone in asphalt. The project should begin in April of 2024. The next Cemetery Board meeting will be on Wednesday, December 20th. This past Thursday, the President and I attended a Michigan Government Finance Officers Workshop on budgets. Part of the workshop was hosted by our own accountants from Plant Moran. It's that time of year, kids, time to write your letters to Santa. So coming Tuesday, November 21st, which would be tomorrow, correct? So starting tomorrow, Santa's mailbox will be on Main Street. So make sure your letters get in there in plenty of time for Christmas so that Santa can write you back. That is the clerk's report. My report, I tried to condense it down, tried just to hit the major points. So our Ford Task Force met twice since our last meeting. The change going forward, we will only be meeting every other month, as there's just not much movement there right now as Ford continues to deactivate the plant. We had a fire and ALS subcommittee meeting, myself and Trustee Edwards. I always want to call everyone by their first names, sorry. We had a subcommittee meeting on the 23rd, and we will be actually having another one tomorrow afternoon. In regards to our CIP training that we had with the Planning Commission, we had about 25 members from across all the boards at the training. It was videotaped if you would like to watch it. A capital improvement plan is mandated by law under the Planning Enabling Act. We do not have one. It's often a requirement when applying for some local grants. It would behoove us to not only do it to become in compliance with state law, but also be able to grab more grant monies for different things around the community. So we look forward to the Planning Commission taking the bull by the horns there, and it's a lot of work, but one step at a time. SEMCOG had a general assembly, of which Clerk Trapp and I attended this month. This portion, a little longer, we had a Great Lakes Water Authority. We had 2 meetings this month. It's a contract that's a significant amount of years. However, when you have significant change, it's time for to look at the contract. So, considering it's been 1 year almost to the date that the plant has officially decommissioned all the personnel inside, we're able to now look back and realize what the normal flows will look like from now on as it sits currently. Unfortunately, over this summer, there's a restricted use season, such as other communities that use Great Lakes water from June to the end of August. There's a specific time frame where they prefer you not use it. And we had another handful of contracted overages. So our first meeting was to discuss what they call events. So we discussed these events, of which Great Lakes asked us to provide documentation to substantiate why they happened. With the cooperation of those that had these events happen, we were able to meet back with Great Lakes Water this last week and provide them with that documentation. With this documentation, we are now in a position to realize a lower contracted usage. However, until we officially run the numbers, we're unsure if we will take that lower usage. Going forward, if we continue to have overages, it's not necessarily like they will give us an immediate penalty or a ticket sort of thing, but you will not be seeing lowered numbers. You would either be consistently the same, or they will actually pull them up higher, which would then require our industrial district, again, not residential, separate water system, which then would affect the industrial districts, their water rates, because that would be now a higher price contract. So we just need to keep an eye on that. And we are actually meeting with engineers next week to go over those water rates to see where it is we want to go with them. In regards to our Bruce Township contract with our flows, as we're closing our end of year audit, we're working with the accountants on the true up, and we will be talking with them and sending out that bill. How this contract works is every quarter, just like the rest of us, Bruce Township sends us a chunk of money to go towards their bill. At the end of the year, at the end of the audit, we look back at the flows, we take into consideration all the usage in the plant, we apply their percent of usage to that, and then we compare everything, come up with the number and the finalization. So we are working through that. Treasurer Miller and myself, we had an investment meeting with the Michigan class to learn more about the program. We were able, I was able to actually, so this last week I went to that Michigan Government Finance of America budgeting class, and then also the President and Mayor's Conference, and was able to ask a couple different people there their perspective on this program that they currently also use. The consensus was that it was a no-brainer, that it's easy money, and so why wouldn't you do it? And it's a very user-friendly format that can be adjusted daily, and very, very literal minimal risk and no cost to us. In regards to police, we have actually conducted 2 interviews, and a position has been offered and accepted. We will meet our officer next month as he will be sworn in here. He does start next week, correct? The 4th? Okay. Ooh, this one is very exciting news. We were awarded the MDOT grant. Remember, we had that special meeting that we all came in to approve the 2 grants. This is the second one. It's a $250,000 grant, and this will go towards our roads. So it just allows us to stretch that road bond that you approved just that much farther. I was able to attend the cemetery, the planning, and the DDA meetings this month. Also, the Construction Board of Appeals that we all created last month had that meeting, and I assisted there and was able to take the minutes, and that was a successful meeting. Letters of interest for open seats. So I'm still working, actually, when I spoke to Elizabeth Miller to see if she was still interested, she suggested, Oxford has an actual application, not just, hey, email the president. So I'm still working on ripping off their application and redoing it. So in the meantime, yes, sorry, you still have to call me or email me. But an official letter of interest stating that you're interested in a seat and why and what you bring to the table. Currently, we have 3 DDA seats, 2 Planning Commission, 2 Library Board, and 1 HDC. For these boards, I plan on emailing those specific seats, reminding them that it is their seat that is up, and if they still wanted to be a part, to send in their letter of interest. And then Santa Parade. All of the trustees, you are all welcome to attend and hand out treats. They ask that if you would like to do that, meet at the Village Park at 6:30. They'll get you your baggie of goodies, and then you can walk down to the parade route. So I will be doing it. That's next Thursday. Sorry. Is that what it is? Yes, 30th. And that is it for my report. Do you have anything, Nolan?
No, not much. I attended that meeting on the 8th, what was the name?
CIP, yeah.
That was really cool, it was interesting, it was a little fun. There was a little workshop at the end, and it actually got kind of stressful. We're like balancing a budget. I learned a lot, and it was really cool. I want to thank the school board for coming out. It says a lot to start that collaboration and be able to talk with us. I think that's great, and hopefully we're able to do that a little more. Yeah, sorry. And that's it.
Okay. Mr. Parker?
Planning Commission met. You were there, thank you. Basically the same things we've been discussing. Went over the flagpole ordinance a little more, future flagpole ordinance, fencing permitting, and use of the sidewalks in the CBD. It's really all we got to this month. Just wanted to remind everyone that the Masonic Hall, with the help of James at Wendy's, is putting on the Thanksgiving meal again this year. It'll be on Thanksgiving. Dinner will be served from 12 to 3. We're also doing deliveries that are available. I'm going to read the numbers just in case they're not there. You can call two different numbers, 586-515-9613 or 586-894-8151. If anyone would request a delivery of a Thanksgiving meal, we'd like to see everyone come out. It'd be a good time.
Will Supervisor Paderak be doing the?
Yeah, sorry, actually, after this meeting, I'm delivering all the turkeys to Supervisor Paderak in Armada Township, and he'll be cooking. I think it's gonna be about 44 turkeys this year for us for the meals.
He smokes them, they're delicious.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Bristow?
Thank you. So I attended the subcommittee on the Prospect Street property. We had some really good conversation and good start to that. I also attended the tree board meeting, and they have a lot of things that they're focusing on. They have a lot of great ideas. If you want to see the minutes or agendas, they are on the website. If you're interested in getting involved, information is there as well. They're doing good work. They're passionate about trees. That's it.
Edwards?
All I have is that I attended the Fire ALS Subcommittee meeting with Bruce Township and Megan. And I guess we'll talk about that more in the committee report, so leave it at that.
Bartholomew?
I'm good.
Nothing? Okay. We covered everything there. So moving into our committee reports, something that's not part of the committee report, but Clerk Trapp did want, last month Clerk Trapp was also not here, and there was a question brought up by Trustee Parker regarding the late fee. So I wanted you to see that that was addressed in here, and it was reversed in August. So, sorry. Okay, crosswalk project. One moment. I don't know, maybe mine's not in order. Anyways, I did ask for a breakdown from the accountants, as was asked, that we would see what the village has paid into it. Does anybody, thank you. I know I had it. I asked her to break it down into the most easily understandable, because this was paid out of a couple different years, so we had to do a few different amendments, move money around. But in the end, the total project that the village paid was $397,000, $330.50, which puts us, where's the total overage? In the project, we were responsible for the engineering. That's a big chunk of that. I can't see it in there where we were initially agreed to. But anyways, that is the total that we have paid into the project personally from the village. It was almost $400,000. I still do not have a report from HRC. I've inquired a couple times this month to encourage them to get it here so that we could get it on the meeting. Don't have it yet. So that will be the next step, is waiting for them to come back with what it would cost to address and fix those issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
We could probably we dissolved that committee, right? We should probably just keep that under unfinished business.
Yes. Again, I think this agenda was just a follow-up last month. With our fire and ALS contract, we did have a subcommittee meeting. Matt and I were able to attend. We're kind of, for the moment, at a standstill as it's not much negotiating. It's more of, this is what we want.
Right.
So in trying to go, okay, if this is literally the avenue and the path we have to go down, what are our options? So we did ask Bruce to ask the council their prerogative on if they would do an either or if it's an all or nothing. So will they just do fire? Would they just do ALS? If we could shop around and find one or the other at a lesser cost, would they offer us just one service, or is it both? It's fire and ALS, or they won't supply us at all. So they had a meeting last Wednesday. I did watch it, and it's an all or nothing sort of thing. So at least have that much more of an answer so we know our next steps and what we do or don't need to research and not waste our time on. So that's where we're kind of at with that committee. Do you have anything else, Matt?
No, but nothing more to add on that, but from a cost standpoint, they're looking at some considerable price increases, so.
Right, they kept, in the video, they kept asking why. And the why is they've asked for over 100% increase in the contract. So as of this year, we pay $550,000, and they want over 100% increase. That's the why, is it's just not in our budget. So we were trying to be as creative as possible.
Right.
So we will go forward tomorrow, now that we have this answer, and see what else we can, see if we can't get some negotiating going.
So Megan, did they tell you specifically it's all or nothing, or you gleaned that just from
The meeting,
observing the meeting?
there was a motion made.
That they haven't formally informed you?
I'm sure they will tomorrow.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure I know. Okay.
Yeah, well, there was a motion made
Okay.
that it was to offer both services in conjunction or not.
Okay,
at all.
thank you.
Parks and Rec Place. Nope. Pile up, already read that off, Clerk Trapp's report, and then our Prospect Street. Did you want to give an update?
Yeah, really, I'd like to talk to the board a little bit about how we're feeling on the topic. So Trustee Rosso, Parker, and I met here on Thursday, this past Thursday, and we had some really great conversation. We had a lot of information to bring to the table. We can go down that rabbit hole for hours of what if this, what if that, but a lot of it is a moot point if, you know, we don't really have the backing of the board to even waste our time exploring funding, exploring options. So that's kind of really my goal, to maybe get out of this meeting moving forward, so when next time we meet, we have a little more tread on our tires, is really just encouragement or permission from this board to, if need be, chat with the school board, or to meet with any experts in the field from the county or from green space, you know, community foundations that help with that sort of funding. We're gonna do our due diligence and try to explore all funding options that we can, explore any options with the property as a whole, and go from there. So how do you guys, you know, feel about the property? We kind of got to talk about how we feel about parks as a whole, if parks is the direction we want to go, if we just want to take it one baby step at a time and just look at property acquisition and how that might possibly lay out. We could do that too.
Do we want to cover this now, or do we want to cover this under unfinished business?
Well, we don't have it on an
It's
agenda
not on the
item
agenda,
for
yeah.
unfinished
Yeah.
business.
Unfinished business A?
It's the first thing up.
That's the space lease.
That's, yeah,
Oh, that's a different,
yeah, that's Parks and
Yeah,
Recs.
this is just the prospect land. Do we want it? Do we,
Oh,
what's the vision
I'm
for it?
favorable for it, yes.
I mean, I don't really think we require a motion. I more so just want to hear your guys' feedback on the
Yeah.
matter, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Continue to explore it.
I'm favorable. I think it'd be
I'm-
worthwhile.
From a budget standpoint, we don't financially have the money to purchase it. That's my being knee-deep in budget.
Right.
The money's not there, and then knowing what we look at potentially with fire contract and that much more that we're gonna have to find every year, I don't see us personally having the money. If the committee can find the avenues, what they've presented and what they would like to see there in a natural habitat, I think would be doable. Yeah, we do have to realize that it will continue to be a tax generating revenue space. We did just create another park. I mean, these are all the things, but I'm not gonna tell you, don't go try and find the money. You have 6 months, try and find the money.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to drag along the school board by any means, and I mean, they've got business to attend to too, so we'd like to make this as painless and efficient as possible for all parties involved. But, I mean, if there's a possibility of getting this paid for, I think it's worthwhile to search for it.
Absolutely.
I've heard there might be grants available for that. Some of the members were saying that, so now that we have time, see what we can come up with.
Awesome, well, yeah, we'll get together and I'll get with these two and we'll meet again soon and we'll start looking at those next steps then. We had some really good conversation last time, so we'll build on that.
Great.
Okay, moving into our unfinished, our Parks and Recs space lease. These doors behind myself and the doors back there are storage space for Parks and Rec, and they've asked if they continue to use it. I put in here, somebody else, not myself, because I am not good with measuring, came in and measured them, and one is 16 by 13 and one is 24 by 19, which comes to about 660 total square feet. I went around just to a few of the grabbed 3 local places, and put in here price sheets for you guys. I tried to see if there was anything consistent. It really looks like it's about $100, or I should say a dollar or just over a dollar a square foot is kind of what it tends to look like. Because then it also depends, is it heated, is it indoor, is it outdoor, blah, blah, blah. Considering this is our Parks and Rec,
What are they currently paying, Megan?
currently they are maintaining the whole building. But come January, we are taking back over this building, and that's where the rent will start.
Which 2 closets or spaces?
This one
and
and that one.
Okay.
They store bouncy,
Yeah.
Christmas decorations, things that they don't touch frequently
Right.
in the other building.
Would, I'm guessing our insurance would not cover their property if something should happen. Would they have their contents insured?
That is a clerk question. I have asked the clerk to, right now is the time of year we start, go back over everything for insurance, so I had her put this building back onto it, and I don't know the details of that.
Okay.
I would think you'd want to handle it much like an apartment where you'd have
Renters
your own
insurance.
furniture and things like
Right.
that insured, so.
Yeah.
I think that's what you do when you get a rental unit from U-Haul or any type of storage place, don't you? You can buy, I mean, they provide the options, but you can buy additional coverage or insurance for those items.
Right, that's what I'm suggesting we should probably require, so if something doesn't happen, we're not replacing a bounce house.
Yeah.
And just liability of their staff being in and out of the building that they're not operating out of. And then what happens with damage if something is damaged in this room while they're in and out of that closet. So I guess that'd be something we'd wanna
Well, it sounds like we have to figure it out by next month's meeting, right? If January they
Mm-hmm.
hand over the keys. Do they
Yep.
currently have the stuff that they're gonna be storing
Mhm.
already in these units?
Yeah. Well, it's been in there for
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. to
years.
A low-cost lease as long as they're covering damage and liabilities and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're necessarily getting into the rental
Yeah.
business. It's a good relationship with our
Well,
Parks and Rec.
we touched on this months ago, and that's where the council said, yes, they would be okay with the lease, or renting out some storage space. So that's why we continued it forward. Price? Does anybody have?
So I make a motion that we lease those 2 spaces to Parks and Rec for storage at the cost of $100 a month, providing that they have a certificate of insurance for their property and for their staff liability that comes and goes.
Is that 100 for both units, for both closets?
Total.
I'll support.
Okay, yeah, because we need just to keep in mind that we will now be, again, we have insurance, we're paying the heating, the lighting, all of the utilities again, and also cleaning fees, so that will help cover some of that.
Yeah,
Is-
I like the price. I think that's a good choice.
I've been in here
It's fair.
vacuuming as of late. There you go. Okay, so we had a motion by Rousseau, second by Parker. Do we have any more discussion?
Or I guess we could then just trade the rent for cleaning.
Could ask that.
I mean, do we also have to be concerned about, now that we have the keys to the building, like 24/7 access, or just when they're operating, are they allowed to come in? Is that something we have to be concerned about?
They've always had access. I mean, we can stipulate it in the lease, put language in there to
Yeah.
coming in when they need to access storage.
Okay.
Does anyone have a particular term, length, yearly or annual, you know?
Year to year,
I don't know.
see how it goes.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do,
I mean, we're stabbing in the dark, so.
Right, it'll give us time to figure out
Yeah.
what it's really gonna
If it
cost us
works,
now.
yeah.
Right.
Do one year.
okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Clark, that is all on you, please.
Figure the rest out.
I accept the responsibility.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, could we please call a roll?
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes. Okay, here was where the crosswalk project was, so I was just a
Oh,
little
yeah.
ahead of myself, apologize.
No problem.
So we've discussed that. Moving on to our elected officials' pay ordinance. I brought this back in here, forgot it last month. This was something that was asked for by trustee Parker to meet with Mr.
Yeah.
Clark.
Me and Mr. Clark, we did meet, we discussed, it's currently being worked on to bring back to the board for review. A couple delays, I think, with finishing the literature, but we should have something by next month.
Okay, so keep it on here.
Yeah, continue for next
We'll
month.
continue on unfinished business. Okay, the next two, did we table them last month? I don't recall, but either way, they were specific questions for the clerk.
Mhm.
She
Are you
answered a bill
referencing-
question for you, because we had a question from last month that was a bill. So there was an answer through an email, I know, regarding that.
I know trustee Fowler probably
Sort
had
of,
a
yeah.
handful of questions about it.
And
we
I'll
just
get
wanna-
with her directly on that one. It was a sort of an answer,
Is
but
this for
didn't
the
answer
cemetery,
it.
or is this for?
No, it was a question I had about one of the bills.
Okay.
And then the consultant's report, again, I think I'll just speak with her directly.
Okay, so do you want me to, we take it off, both of them off of here, or just one? What would you like, for next month?
Yeah, I thought they were actually gonna come off, so yeah. What-
Okay,
I don't,
sorry.
you're talking the consultant's report, and what was the other one?
Cemetery.
Cemetery, I think was Zach,
That was, yeah, it wasn't me.
so.
Maybe put that one
I'll
back on.
leave that
Okay,
one.
let's
Yeah.
keep
For next month.
cemetery and get rid of consultant finally. Okay, Village Hall restoration.
All right.
I brought visuals for everybody. at the table at least. You have rocks at your table. These are our wall. This is our outside wall.
Our village hall.
Here, show yours are some of the bigger ones, that are literally falling. I've collected these over the last year of my term, so it's currently falling apart. It's not like they were sitting there for a while. So I brought this back here onto the agenda. A couple months ago, Trustee Fowler said he would write up some RFPs for us. Still waiting on those. But in the meantime, budget was asked about by Trustee Rousseau, so I asked our accountants to put together how in the world would we pay for this. Based off of the current, the information that they did give us from the bids, or I'm estimating it as the total cost between the roof, the windows, and the brick wall, 115. I don't know, it's a shot in the dark. It could be more, it could be less. That's kind of where I'm thinking. So I asked accounting where would this money come from? Essentially, we have a couple funding options. One would be that the village currently has $324,000, $594 in ARPA monies. 160 of that has been allocated to the generator at our wastewater treatment plant. So we have $164,000 and some change available to help cover, offset, whichever. This is an allowed use by the state for our ARPA funds, so there's a potential right there that it could come from. Funding option number 2 would be our general fund balance, where I said we need to make a budget amendment, and that's where that would come from. So these are the 2 areas where the money could come from. So as we go forward, keep this information in mind. I don't know how much longer we wait for RFPs, or if we would like to spend some money and have professionals in the area come out, give us a full scope of work so we could put that in an RFP. I am not a restoration window expert. I am not a mason.
Something HRC could do.
Considering that I'm having a tough time getting them to fulfill current things,
Yeah.
I'm not really going to pile on some more. I can ask.
I think we need to move as soon as possible.
Yeah, these,
I just, read it was a little while ago, but a building in Eastern Market.
Yep.
I mean, part of the wall just fell out into the alley. I mean, that could have killed people. And I'm looking at this stuff, it kind of looks like we could be in the same boat.
yeah, I look at it,
So
it's
I
very
would-
sharp. Someone walking by, anybody on blood thinners, I mean, good luck. It makes me concerned. That's why I wanted to give you a visual of where we're at. I'd really like to see this by spring. Somebody,
I
you
thought
know,
we had some bids in here before.
We-
We had some bids, but there were
We
like
did.
3 completely different scopes of work. There was nothing to compare one to the next, you know? So that was,
Well,
one guy said that, I think he sat here and said, well, I included the whole police department too, because he didn't know what he was supposed to be bidding.
right, so that, and then his was offset higher than a different one.
Yeah,
And that's where
so-
I'm saying, if somebody could come in and give us a grand look of what is, actually needs to be done there, to be able to write the RFP with.
Yeah.
And then if we so choose, we could break the RFP into.
You could phase it depending on what is
Possible.
more needed, or,
Right.
I mean, we do have money, ARPA money does need to be spent sooner than later. It's a use or lose.
I think it's a good idea to use
Yep.
the ARPA funds.
I agree.
All right,
Do
if,
you know the date
I
it
think-
needs to be spent by?
Is it April?
I want to say it's coming up within the year.
Okay.
I can't remember, it was 24 or
And we've got
25.
nothing else planned for it, so.
It'd be a great project.
So what we
I think
would
it'd be a good
do
project.
with accounting is we would need to make a motion to move that into a different account. From what I'm understanding, you can move it into like payroll or that sort of thing, and then it's safe housed there to pay out this, a contract to do that. And I can ask them and have that all ready for next month if that's what we'd like
That'd
to
be
do.
great. Thank
Do
you.
we just want to move all of it there? Assuming, I mean, like I said, I estimated 115, but 160, that's
Move
not,
all of it.
yeah. I mean, it
So-
Oh, you said
could,
there's 164 left?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When does ARPA get replenished? Like,
It doesn't. ARPA was a one-time COVID, yes, it was, and that's why they encouraged and even had certain restrictions on what you could use it for. Don't bring on a new officer and have it be their pay, because it's not coming again. Like, that's the only time you're gonna get that chunk of money. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Were there any other projects that you were aware of that would qualify for the ARPA fund that are looming?
Oh, Lord, I mean, we have a lot of infrastructure, vehicles, that sort of thing, that could use it.
If we
Okay.
decide to fix the crosswalks on our own dollar, if we deem that some of those are a hazard and should be fixed.
And
So
move,
we
yeah.
have Till April to spend that down to zero.
We have till April to budget to move it. So once we would appropriately budget it, then that money is now, at least the way that I'm understanding it, it's housed with an intent.
Mhm.
And that would, but I can get clarification for us next month.
Well, if that's the case, yeah, moving it all makes sense. So the next step would be to have someone come in and do a comb over of exactly what the restoration would entail for the village hall as a whole.
Right, and I might need funds for that. I guess that's what I'm asking you, is the board willing to spend money to have an assessment of all our masonry work, get a complete workup of what is needed, so that we can then create the report, the RFP.
Do you have any idea what like a not-to-exceed number might be?
For someone to come
I have no idea. I'm
write up a
saying,
report, I would say not to exceed 25.
that's what I'm saying, I was gonna say 2 or 3 grand, I have no clue.
Say $3,000 then, not to exceed $3,000.
You
Okay,
Make the motion, I'll support.
I'll make a motion to go out and get a bid, put together,
yeah,
Proposal.
a proposal put together, and what needs to be done
Scope of
for a
work.
price of not more than $3,000.
Support.
okay, so we have a motion by Edwards and support by Parker. Give you a second. Okay, well, I will reach out to HRC to see if this is something they can viably get done within the next month, maybe January, because I'd really like to get that RFP out there and somebody on the hook for spring.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could call the roll.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes. Okay, and I will also be asking for the budget amendment to be added to move that money for us.
Megan, I have a contact of a company that does restoration work. The information they've given me is in relation to historical churches, but if you'd like, I can forward it to you, because it's stained glass, masonry, brick, windows, all that good
Okay.
stuff. So,
Yes,
you want?
please,
Okay.
email
All
it
right,
on
I'll
over.
forward that.
Okay. Okay, moving into our new business, we have 3 event permits. Starting with our Parks and Rec tree lighting event permit. Santa is coming to town. He's going to ride into town, end up in the village park with the tree lighting and the typical sit with Santa and Mrs. Claus. and
Is
tell
this
him-
early this year? Typically the first Thursday?
It's
in
usually,
December?
I'm not quite sure if it's because of the way that the
that what it is?
calendars falls this year, but it usually is the first, it's usually like the 3rd or so of December, but anyways, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Support.
village event permit for the, what do you want me to title it? The Parks and Rec tree lighting and Santa Parade?
Okay, we have a motion by Care, support by Parker. All in favor of approving, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. We have none opposed. Okay, we have our Romeo Soda Shop event permit. Jessica stood up and spoke during public comment, try to clarify a bit for us. This will be a first of this type of event.
So we weren't looking for anything else. This one's all set and ready to approve, right?
Right, I
It sounded
just
like there was
was,
some clarification.
right, that's what that was dropped off at the table today, this
Okay.
evening. So I wanted a little condensed, it was kind of all, drawn, scribbled a little bit, but
Yeah, I did hear that we were waiting on approval from the police chief. on the route. So would any motion to approve that just be pending police chief's approval as well?
It could.
Is that what's this? Is this the?
No problem.
That's the fire
No,
chief.
That's an addition.
Okay.
It says okay with route, and someone signed it.
That's the fire chief.
But he just said it was
Not
on
yes.
as well.
Okay,
Chief did.
gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
It's unreadable, so I.
Streets closed.
So,
I don't believe streets are closed. I do believe it sounded like that alley would be shut down, but not even, it didn't say,
Blocked off.
they're gonna be, yes, put cones out, allow them to come.
so then are we disregarding the stretch along Main Street that,
Corner 32 in Main, down the Hall Antiques to the Masonic Temple.
right,
Is that just the parking?
That was the,
Requested parking spot.
antique cars were gonna park there. But I don't believe that's an ask anymore, is it? No, that was something that was,
Can she talk during this process?
Yeah.
It's her permit,
yeah.
right?
It says blocked for horse
Clarification.
and buggy on the map of the,
Yeah, it's a Present parking spots blocked for horse and buggy.
but it's not even coming that way anymore. If you look at the,
So this
The new
new
route.
yard alters
right,
okay,
this, so we
so
can,
not that.
they're gonna be following this where they come across to
so we just make sure this is excluded
Church.
in the approval.
Okay,
Church to Prospect to Hollister and back, so
Yeah.
really not going down Main Street.
So we're not
that way
using the
anymore.
parking anymore. Okay.
The hours are probably still good.
so we're still waiting for,
Chief just said he was good with it.
Yeah, normally there's a sheet that comes to me from the clerk's office for me to sign off.
She came in,
I haven't seen one.
Jessica came in, you weren't there,
Yeah, I have,
so,
I have a copy of everything.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with everything, as long as we got some kind of marking on the back of the carrot, obviously, which will,
She does.
because it is during, on Fridays, it's during high traffic.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so,
Well, with that in mind, I'll make a motion to approve the event permit for the Romeo Town Hall Soda Fountain, with the new updated route that we received today.
Excluding parking.
Yeah, the new updating route doesn't include any of the parking
the one that was,
on Main.
okay,
Because it's in the pack.
gotcha.
So with blocking off the, what is it, Marketplace Alley, is that what we call it?
the alley.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the official name.
I'll support that one.
It's just how we
MJC.
commonly say it.
Start, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Care,
Yeah, Nate
no,
supports it.
support by Bartholomew.
So the A-frame signs will stay within the ordinance area and won't stay out overnight. No tent, no electricity, she'll be using sidewalks, streets, and then she'll be providing her own cones, so should this permit be altered to say yes instead of no for that alleyway?
Oh, barricades and cones, yeah.
It currently says no, but she's gonna need them for the alley.
Yeah, we can do
It says
that.
cones.
Which one do you see?
Right on the front here, it says no.
I know, but what is Nate looking at?
Same.
And the list?
Yeah, right here, it says no, no cones. She's got it marked as no.
Oh, right,
We
right,
need
and
to-
it actually indicates how many cones you want.
Yeah, so it should be marked as yes, and the cones and barricades put up.
What do you have, 2 cones, Jessica?
4 cones.
4 cones?
Do we need barricades?
That might be kinda hard to move when you're bringing a
Yeah,
horse and
moving
carriage
in and out.
Right.
all the time.
The fire chief didn't say they were necessary. He said cones would work.
Yeah,
And are you providing them?
I have 4 cones.
Oh, okay,
okay, yeah, so she doesn't need them.
Don't have to do
Okay.
anything, right?
Okay,
perfect.
So my motion still stands then?
okay. There's no more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none. All in favor. The Romeo Lions event permit, this is the Pack the Bus. Jamie was hoping to be here, however, the Lions also have a meeting tonight. Could we just hold on to this one, push it till the end in the hopes that maybe he shows up before we get done?
Sure.
If that would be acceptable. I did tell him he couldn't talk, so, unless he was here for public comment, so there really wasn't necessary, but he did like to have his presence here, so. We are into our DDA cost share. Danielle Leah presented on this earlier at the presentation. Amount is not requested, and you heard what she had to say, so. Floor is open for discussion.
I think it's a really cool idea. So the GDA would be looking at, with cost share from us, they would purchase the 3 igloos and just use them from year to year.
Correct. I did say, I let them know I am on the DDA, however, I do have a tough time in my president's seat to cost share in a product as opposed to the parking lot or something a little more, yes. So I did say I do have a tough time with that, especially our cost or our part of it could be storage, putting up, taking down. We're paying for the electric that they'll be plugged into. I understand that's probably not anywhere near comparable, but just saying, we do, it's not that we don't do anything, and they aren't suggesting that.
I know it was mentioned that other municipalities use these. I know I've seen them for like private businesses. I guess my question would go to Mark as far as a liability standpoint. If we're putting out a structure, temporary or not, for people that we're welcoming people into or allowing on public space, does that present any type of issue with, I mean, even occupancy load?
Well, potentially it does, whether you contribute financially or not. If the village is going to allow the construction or placement of these in the village park, arguably if somebody is injured, they're going to look for as many pockets as they can find. But I don't think it's problematic. I think you could check with your insurer. I think you have insurance through the Michigan Municipal League, and to insure your buildings, police cars, other things that you have, equipment, DPW, and just add this as an item to be insured. And if the underwriter balks at it, well, then you know you have a problem. If not, you would be covered. So I would pay attention to it, but I don't think on the face of it, it's prohibitive.
And as an event, they have filled out an event permit and supplied their insurance coverage, just as anybody else would that would be having an event in the park.
Where would they be stored off-season?
That's what I'm saying. I would assume they would be at the DPW site. That's my guess. I don't know where else you'd put them.
We do have some basement storage.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
yep.
What's the actual purpose of these?
To be able to still utilize the park space.
So
So
they're
in the
just gonna be
summer,
open for people to walk by and stop in?
yeah, you don't have to reserve
They're
them.
not restaurant serviced
Nope.
or?
They go right over the picnic tables?
Someone would have to man that in, kind of, if you had a reservation platform, then someone has to watch it and knows you're in here and I'm supposed to, and then you have to police that part, get out and I'm coming in, and it's similar, think about in the summertime, you just have an open one, it's a park bench, it's the picnic table. This is putting the igloo over the picnic table so they can still be out there. They're not heated, right? There's no heat, just lights.
The greenhouse effect.
Yeah. However, we have chatted a little bit after that, and I suggested some sort of a timer, that the lights are not on all night, that they tend to go off at a decent time, so it doesn't encourage people to continue to be out there at midnight in the igloos.
I would also be concerned, talking lighting, would be the use of an extension cord for multiple months, that it's gonna get snowed on and covered. Could these be positioned so that they were right next to, or the receptacle was inside the dome, so that we're not draping cords that are gonna get walked on in the snow and cut and broke and,
I guess that's the intent.
okay.
Because potentially they're also gonna have to be serviced in some way. I mean, people, litter and things like that. I mean, people are gonna probably, I would assume they're gonna bring some drinks, they're gonna bring some food. They're not just going to sit there.
Right, and I did mention at the DDA board that, we aren't going to maintain them as the village. So if there needed to be extra hours of cleanup, or if they needed to ask our DPW to do cleanup, they would be paying those DPW hours.
So do they have a plan to maintain it, or they're just gonna wait for the village to say it needs something? Did they put a plan?
We haven't gone that far.
Haven't gone it.
The
Okay.
this is our first step, trying something new.
All right. And how, because I know there's all different kinds of igloos, are they looking at the ones that are like, you could poke a hole through them?
It's literally this one. It's whatever this,
Yeah,
can't
I
even-
couldn't quite tell if it was the full-on, because it says zipper adjustable, so to me it sounded like the thicker
it's
plastic.
made of durable ABS plastic frame with a thick PVC screen.
So they're just assembled, right?
Mhm.
You just take them apart.
Is there a base that they sit on, or are these just gonna sit right on the grass?
My assumption is the grass.
It's got an ABS plastic frame that it sits on.
The framing that it rolls around the exterior.
So I'd imagine it'd have to be staked down or anchored down somehow.
And then,
When
I'm guessing in the spring, or when they come out in February in the spring, if there's needs any grass repair.
End of Winterfest, which was February something, 13.
Well, that's good.
I would think it would still be good frozen, or
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well,
it's
if
gonna
that's
turn
great.
muddy under the
That's-
warmness, I don't know.
I think they're cool, though. I think
Yeah.
people will enjoy using them.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
trying
it's good.
something new. Maybe it fails, maybe it takes off.
No venture, no gain.
I just don't know that I wanna pay for it with the tax dollars.
I would-
Sorry.
Well, I think, I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be cool if there was a company that rented things similar to this, and we could do a test run for 3-4 weeks, and if the community loves it and it goes well, and it's not annoying for DPW, then we can pull the trigger and buy 3 of them. But if we buy 3 of them and they break, or they're poor quality, or there's a lot of issues, then we just cost shared and kind of wasted a little bit of money too. It is a really cool idea. I like the idea. I
I
just
think
wish
they're gonna go
we
over
could test
well.
it.
I like that idea.
Because people use the park a lot, the tables for eating and stuff. And this would give them one more option.
Yeah. So they would go over our existing picnic tables?
That is the intent.
Okay.
So we can either, someone can make a motion to cost share, or we just let it lie.
Now, what does cost share mean in a technical sense? Is that just split it evenly, whatever?
They didn't ask for a specific amount, but they would,
Okay.
So you could literally
Like,
state any,
500,
Okay.
200,
Okay.
throw something at it.
I
kinda
make a
thing.
motion that the village donate the use of electricity to any igloos that are placed by the DBA.
Support.
You want to put in cost share in there as well?
No.
No?
Okay, so we have a motion by Rousseau, support by Parker, that the village would
Donate any
cover the
electricity.
electric bill for the use of, in the use of these. Could you call a roll call, please?
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes.
Now, this will still have to come to us again for the actual permit, right?
No, just like anybody else, say you're having a wedding and you want to fill out the event permit for the park. You just, that's going to be a clerk and admin.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other motions? We good?
I'd like to make a motion that we do cost share with the DDA on this when that time comes.
Pardon me, I'm sorry, could you say it again?
Yes, I would make a motion that we do, as a village, cost share with the DDA on this project.
A specific amount.
I say, do you have an,
Did you have any idea approximately?
We approved $2,500 for this spot,
And that's for the 3 igloos and delivery.
delivery and setup.
Okay. Not to exceed 2,000?
we have a motion by Bartholomew to not to exceed 2,000 and a cost share with the DDA on this purchase.
Support?
Support by Edwards.
I'm sorry, how much was that for?
Not to exceed 2,000. And could you call the roll when you're ready?
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Care?
No.
Parker?
No.
Russo?
No.
Poznanski?
No. Okay, are we moving on, or are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're going to be paying the heat bill, I turn it down when we leave. So, so,
I'm feeling a draft coming.
yeah, so just trying to be cognizant of our new bill.
Thank you.
Our legal RFP. So we are at the point in time where our current RFP with Mr. Clark, we approved it for a 3-year contract with a 2-year extension. We're at the 3-year part. In January, we would be at 3 years. So if the council was considering an RFP as opposed to the 2-year extension, we're asking that you let us know that now so we could put out the RFP. Whether or not you actually want to change, I mean, that's part of what the RFP and the prices will show you. So just going out for RFP simply does not mean we will be choosing a different option, as this still doesn't, it would not negate the option of the 2-year extension. So just wanted everyone to know that's the option. If we so choose, please make a motion tonight so we can create that RFP and start walking it forward so we could be prepared should there be a change.
So my understanding that year 4 and 5, right after this, the 2-year extension are gonna remain the same as.
It's
the
in
current
here.
year, right?
There are adjustments. I mean, it's already been approved in the contract.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah, it stays the same for.
Yeah.
We're at
All
now
the
for
language is in there.
remainder.
Mhm.
So with no action, we just continue on to year 4?
Well, we would,
we'd still have to
we would
agree
still,
to it.
we would agree to that extension as it is, I believe, correct, Mark? It doesn't just
Yeah,
continue.
the option is the village's, the option isn't mine. And when it was presented, it was over the 5 years as is included in the information you have. So you can exercise the option and lock it in for the next 2 years, not exercise the option and put it out with a RFP. It's your choice. It's not my option, it's yours.
Right.
I'll make a motion to extend the current contract for the 2-year extension as written in the contract for years 4 and 5.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion by Parker, support by Edwards, to continue in the 2-year extension with our legal. And when you're ready, could you call the roll?
Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
Yes.
Care?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Russo?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes. Okay, moving on to our Michigan class investment. Caroline, do you want to come up and speak? Caroline's not public, she's the treasurer. Okay, so Caroline and I met with a representative from the Michigan Class Investment. She put in all the information here. It literally covered everything she had to say to us. So we didn't feel like there was a need for her to come and regurgitate this information to you. What I'd like to point out to you, if you look at the second to last page of the information in here, she threw in an example that if for September of 2023, for the whole 30 days, if we would have just had $1 million sitting in this investment, we would have made $4,500 on that $1 million. I'll just let you know, we have more than $1 million just hanging out, making us $0.
In 1 month, in 30 days.
Oh, sorry. Well, that would be amazing. No, 4,500. So,
Yeah.
think we have 3-4 million that could be sitting there. We would have just made 12
And
grand.
this money is completely liquid too, so we can, you know,
No
if,
penalties.
right, no penalties. Any, we won't ever see a bill. We won't have to write a check. The terms, or I should say, the yield that they do,
They take it out of
they
there.
take it
It's
out as it
included.
comes. So monthly, they, you know, a dollar amount would be deposited in our account. We'd have, essentially, an interest-bearing checking account. And it would be connected to our bank accounts. I can transfer back and forth as we.
Daily.
Daily, if I want, you know. I could provide, I would imagine, a monthly statement to you all in your budget stuff, so you can see what it's doing and how it's growing. And then if we, let's say every month we make $4,500, well, we leave it in there and we make money on that money too, you know. Or if we say, hey, we need to turn the heat up over here, you know,
Yeah.
we could take.
Now
the
we
well,
have
yeah, you know, or replace the roof or whatever, you know, we can use it for whatever we want. Megan, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, but I did meet with Robinson Capital. They came in Thursday when you
Okay.
were
This
at
is a
your
different,
meetings.
a separate investment company. We were not wanting to put all our eggs in one basket. So
Right.
this is one type that we were looking at for this Michigan class, and then Robinson Capital is a different.
Pleasantly surprised with Robinson Capital, they offer the same type of program.
Okay.
Which I didn't realize until they started talking. So it's the same type of program, it just depends on who, you know, who I decide to go with. Michigan class requires a board approval.
Yes, we need a resolution to.
Right, and they said seeing it in the minutes is plenty to get the ball rolling. Robinson Capital does not require that, but they're like, you probably should still, I go, well, yeah, of course, we're gonna tell them, you know, but they don't require that as part of the
Okay.
process. I have an appointment scheduled with Danielle from Plant Moran. I spoke with her today. I said, we want to get this going sooner
Yes.
than later.
Absolutely. I don't want to wait another month.
I don't want to wait another minute. I want to get, so I have an appointment scheduled with her. I think she put you on
Yes.
the appointment
Yep.
for Tuesday, December 5th, so we can get with Danielle and Carrie, I think
Yes.
is her name, to talk strategy, dollar amounts, you know, so
So-
we can get this going. And this can get going in as quick as just a few days.
Yes, we talked,
So my
that
goal
was
is
one
end
of our
the year.
questions.
Yeah.
When we met with them, that was our question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the council approves this, what's the next step and how fast can we get
Yeah.
going?
And she's
So-
like, you tell us, and we'll
Yeah.
send the paperwork over, get it filled out, and get going on it.
So, I mean,
So does the-
by
the
next week, we could be
resolution
entered in it. It could be as easy as just making a
Yeah.
motion in the minutes.
Yeah.
To go forward with this investment with this company.
So we don't need to include any type of dollar amounts that we're gonna
Nope.
work with?
No, because that's going to be fluid over time, especially as we make money or depending on what's due at the time. We're going to pay attention to, for instance, our fire contract, and we're going to hold on to that in this fund to make us the most money as possible on that money for the year until it's due at Bruce. That kind of stuff. So it's going to be fluid.
And the
Depending.
account can, we were talking to the woman that came to talk to us, it can go down to zero, and we don't get
There's
any
no penalty.
penalties. We can
Yeah.
take it all out and say, we need it, we gotta spend it on something.
Yeah, we can also
know.
have our taxes directly deposited. What was that she was telling us? So that currently
Oh,
we got
right.
we had $700,000 state tax check sent to us. Well, it's just
Sitting there.
in our safe in the bank. Well, that could have been sent directly to here so that the next day we were realizing revenue on that.
Right.
And even if it only sits there for a week or two until then we turn that
Right,
over to
until we have
whatever.
to turn it over.
We made a few bucks.
Is there any risk of loss to our principal?
The risk, from what I understood, was the banks would have to, everybody would have to
Everybody
bankrupt
would
and
have to go
foreclose.
belly up and.
So it's
Yeah. So it's
not, I'm not
insured.
saying it's not possible, because, I mean, hello, COVID.
Well, the way it works
but I'm
with-
saying it's very not likely.
Like the FDIC insurance,
We're
it's
insured.
split into multiple
Right.
banks so
Okay.
that all the money is insured.
Okay.
Okay, and there are 800 and some
Right,
municipalities
we
that are involved
we
with
are
Michigan
in
class.
this, we're in this one pot, and then this pot, what they do for us is they are the ones invest in putting it in all, the the
Right.
smaller ones that are making
They
the
make money when we make money, so they. yep.
And what happens is, this is only open for local, not local, just government.
Government, right.
So as more governments jump in, the bigger that pot of money is, the more we all make.
Yeah, but there's still, I guess I feel a little uneasy that there's zero risk to losing it. I mean,
You mean like the stock market risk? Your
Yeah.
funds go down, not just federally
you
insured?
can make money and you can
I mean,
lose
well, the
money.
interest rates are always going to change. You know, right now, the rates are
Right.
high, so.
But
And
we
it's
don't lose
not-
our principal. It's not like the stock market where we
Right,
could lose our principal.
right. I mean, I know what you're saying, it sounds too good to be true. And we've, you know, talked to other municipalities, I know that when people I've talked to are like, it's ridiculous not to do it, but.
So you've spoken to other municipalities who use.
Yeah, and then
Flash
I've talked to
specifically?
people, like, when I
Yeah.
go to my conferences and stuff, there's always people that are like, no, get over there and talk to this guy, you need to be
Yeah.
doing this. Oh,
Yeah, like
okay.
I just, at
You know?
my training I talked to someone from Rochester. He's like, yeah, why, like,
Right.
why not? What are
Yeah.
you thinking? I was like,
Right.
well, I just want to know what your experience is. And then,
And with Robinson Capital, there are a couple, and I just met with them on Thursday, so I haven't made any phone calls or anything, but he rattled off a few of our neighbors who, neighboring communities who use them.
and just
in
so
this
that you're all
capacity.
aware, it's not that we're taking all of our money.
No.
And putting it here.
Right.
We're meeting with our accountants to have certain reserves to meet expectations. This is, in other words, excess that just sits in our account
That makes zero.
and makes
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Danielle even suggested, she said, you know, you might like both of these companies. You might want to try both of them and decide which portal works better, which is more how the, you know what I mean, which, and then decide later that, okay, we don't want to use you anymore, we want to do all of it, you know, but we'll talk about that when we meet with
Robinson?
or with Danielle and Carrie and crunch
Okay.
numbers and stuff. They have more experience with all of this than
Yes.
I do, but.
I do kind of like the idea of, at least if we were going to go down this investment route, of trying out both, because we're just kind of throwing a dart at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
We
could-
have references,
Yeah.
but we don't really have a preference one or the other, so.
Right.
You can make the
maybe
motion
with a
tonight
small
to enter into each one and
Yeah.
start with each one. We have our investment policy, so we do have to follow all of those rules,
Yeah.
which we
And
did
they do
update and
want-
look at earlier this
They want
year.
the investment policy, they want to make sure that, and I said, well, we already already did that, you know, earlier this year, but both companies are like, we need the copy, we want to read it, want to make sure that there's specific things in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So at any point, we can pull out.
yes.
Yep.
So
So,
if we make a motion to approve moving forward with monthly reports or updates on how it's going, with the option of terminating at any time.
right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And what the representative did tell us, she's, with the 800 and some odd municipalities are involved in this, she said at any given time, there's probably 60 of them with a zero balance. Because they're like, they don't have the money to do it, you know?
And it does say in the fine print that we may get fees from our bank for the transactions, we just won't get additional fees from class for.
Right,
loaning
okay,
money
so
in.
we might get transfer fees, but
Minuscule,
usually,
yeah.
pretty much with Chase, they don't charge us anything for,
So what sparked this is, you guys went to a conference and it was just recommended by.
well, I
What
was
sparked it is
asked
we never-
before, nobody's ever done any investing before.
Right.
So I was asked prior to even running for treasurer that by our accountants and the previous administration, if you run for treasurer, you need to start investing. And I'm like, okay. So then just go into classes and we've
Yep.
both learned,
I like it.
yeah.
And one of the first things I asked was like, okay, figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
why do we have
Yeah.
millions sitting there not
Right.
making us any more
And why
money?
are, because I think Danielle from Plant Moran said to me early on, she's like, she was surprised when she came on that
Yeah.
we haven't been investing, ever.
I mean, I would entertain a motion that gives us a smaller maybe a little bit less money to start for a month, and gives us a sample of each system, just so we can see what software you're more comfortable with, and which one you like using better, and.
Well, I believe our policy kind of leaves that up to the treasurer,
Yeah,
Right.
the amounts, that sort of a thing,
yeah.
that we
But
have
I'm gonna
faith in
go
full
on
faith in
that
her.
with our accountants and Megan, and we're gonna, I'm not gonna be like, oh, let's just put 10 million in there and see what happens. It's not happening.
So So, does anybody want
I would support
a motion
I
of
would support
something in the
all those.
minutes saying that we want to move forward?
I make a motion that we authorize the treasurer to move forward with pursuing investment with Michigan Class Investment, and that initially, for the first year, we provided monthly reports on the status of the account.
For sure.
Is that just Michigan?
It's called Michigan Class.
Michigan Class is the one that requires your approval to even start with an investment. Robinson Capital will just act like they do too, and we'll just treat it the same way, you know.
So we have a motion by Rousseau,
I'll support.
support by Parker. Can you call the roll, please? Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes.
What was the name of the other?
Robinson Capital.
I'd like to make a motion that we also let you continue with Robinson Capital as well, and with the
Yeah.
same stipulation with monthly reports for the first year, and if you deem that one isn't as good or whatever,
Right.
feel free to do whatever.
And the yields, the return on investment, it was about the same, you
Okay.
know, so, yeah, we can kind of figure that out too. But theirs is called, Michigan Class is Michigan Class, there's Robinson Capital is called Michigan Insured Cash Holdings.
Okay. Yeah,
Federally
I'm more
insured
concerned for
cash
like a-
investment option for Michigan public entities.
That one.
Same type of thing, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just like a
Robinson
customer
Capital.
service
Yep.
standpoint
Yeah.
and how you like using
Yeah.
it is all I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Okay, so we have a motion by Care. Did we? Support by Parker. If you could call the roll again, please.
Yep. Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes. Yay, free money. Okay, and moving into our last item, for the Village Park, there has been a request to put a flat flagpole in there. Ms. Heidelberg reached out to me, asked about installing a flagpole. I said, she knows that the Planning Commission is currently looking at ordinance for that. And I said, well, I think our first step is to ask if the council wants one in our park. So told her we put it on the agenda.
I personally would like a flagpole.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue with the flag. Well, I would just say let's let the planning commission finish their work
Yep.
with
There's no hurry on it.
placement. And what's that?
There's no hurry on it.
No.
But I would like to see one.
Yeah, I don't think we'll put anything in the ground until the spring anyways, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let planning
After the
commission do their
commission's
thing.
done and
sounds good. Let's-
do, and then at that time, when it comes back to the agenda, we need to talk about who's gonna put the flag up, down, buy new ones, monitor that, is the light on it?
Are you
lower at
volunteering?
half-mast.
Good opportunity for the middle school, right?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
get it.
we
Yeah.
could offer that to
It'd have to be
a
big.
Cub Scout troop or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Masons.
I will say we don't really uh,
I
adhere
think
to
you're
that
volunteering.
in the flagpole out front of our building.
Mhm.
So I don't know how much we really, what our intent is there. I think the cemetery does pay attention to half-mast when they can. You have to check every day. I mean, sometimes, unless it's a large countrywide event, sometimes you don't know, or holiday.
There's an app for that.
Yes, and who would like to monitor that and have that added to their, okay, so I guess I'll let Ruth know. We'll hand it over, we'll wait for the moment on the planning commission.
With the village park, since we're on that topic, did Ruth, did she ever turn over like access and authority to like, what's the Wi-Fi, the lighting control, all the stuff that's out there?
Not yet. I did email her last week. We've spoken about it. She says it's very easy. It's an app that will be able to be controlled remotely from anywhere. We just haven't met up, so I emailed her last week, asked, hey, can we finally do that? We do have keys. Parks and Rec has a key because they're often the ones that use it.
Do we have anyone
Village.
monitoring the lighting?
At the moment, we are not. At the moment, it's,
Cause it's, you know,
Roof?
it's glowing different colors like all day and all night.
mhm.
And if we
Oh.
wanna, I'd rather have heat than lighting.
Okay. I'm sure she'll get with me
Yeah,
soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now we're at our last point. Jamie, well, no, remember
yeah,
around We
Jamie.
Alliance one, he just still isn't here. So this is the Pack the Bus event. They are making this an annual event, so I said, well, why don't you just put it on the event permit and ask for that so they don't have to come back every year. So it is on here, looking for perpetual approval for the event to be held the third Sunday of December annually. So they would be requesting those 2 to 3 parking spaces where they generally park it in front of Office Youngers, that third Saturday and Sunday in every December, now and going forward.
They park at end of day or midday Saturday,
That
right?
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Now, with perpetual approval, I mean, doesn't every year them filling out the permit kind of also help with the setup of the barricades and how would that work every year?
There's really nothing to that because if the bus pulls over into the parking spaces, there's no need for closing off of things.
But they get 2 barricades, they would just have to get in contact and
Yes,
get them.
remind us, send an email, say, hey, it's coming up.
Filling out the permit's kind of like the reminder.
Yeah, I don't want it to be the third Sunday and they don't have the barricades out and it's, it'd be an issue, but I guess that'd be their issue.
The onus would be on them. I said, send us an email. You're going to need to remind, because I won't always be here. We won't always be here.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that has a perpetual permit that does not need to come before?
Bike night? Do we do bike night? Or Jeep night?
Do they need a permit?
There's a permit for that.
Exactly. Well, and it's kind of a very similar, they use the same parking spaces and they don't even put out cones, they put out buckets. Yeah. That kind of thing. That was why I said, they do, let's do.
So what's to stop anyone else from assuming they either don't need a permit because someone else did it, or them asking for perpetual permits as well?
There's a difference between closing down county roads, and we can't do that. So in some of the event permits, that's part of the request.
Perpetual?
No, I'm saying other event permits that they would, like, that does have to, even though, say, Vintage Fest always happens every year, well, that still has to go to the county every year. So that one does have to be renewed by this board
Right.
to go to ask the county.
I guess if they're gonna keep doing it, I mean, if they're ever to stop doing it, then.
It's food donations
Approval
for the
anyways.
local food pantry.
Right, it's something they'll always be doing, so I'll make a motion to approve the Romeo Lions Club, Pack the Bus food drive for perpetual approval, for the event to be held on the third Sunday of December annually.
Would you add in something along the lines of notifying the village 30 days beforehand?
I mean, from my understanding from the president just now, it sounds like, I mean, if they don't get their spaces because they didn't contact us and get the barricades in time, I mean, it is kind of a little bit their fault.
I'll support the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Care, support by Bartholomew. We have an all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
2.
We have a nay from Parker and Rousseau.
I make a motion that we approve the Romeo Lions Club Village event permit.
Well, the motion passed.
Motion passed.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right,
Yeah.
it did. Sorry, thank you, Matt.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8:45, people.